What if I told you that one man, just one man, fired more Americans than some recessions? 100,000 jobs, gone, with a signature. They didn't call him Neutron Jack because he was nice. A neutron bomb kills people but leaves buildings standing. Sound familiar? Fortune magazine called him Manager of the Century. Employees called him something different. But here's what's crazy. He might have saved American business, or destroyed it forever. By the end of this 20-minute deep dive, you'll know why half of corporate America still worships him, why the other half wants to burn his playbook, and why his methods are still being used in boardrooms across the world right now. But first, let me show you something that will blow your mind. This man's influence is so deep, you've probably been affected by his decisions without even knowing it. If you've ever been laid off, if your company uses performance rankings, if your job feels like a constant competition, congratulations, you're living in Jack Welch's world. But Jack Welch wasn't born a corporate killer. He was just Jackie from Peabody, Massachusetts, a working-class kid with a stutter so bad he couldn't order ice cream without breaking into a sweat. Yeah, you heard that right. The man who would terrorize Fortune 500 executives couldn't get through vanilla cone without stammering. His father? A railroad conductor who worked doubles to keep food on the table. His mother, Grace? She was intense. Grace Welch didn't believe in coddling. When little Jackie stuttered, she didn't comfort him. She pushed him harder, made him read aloud, forced him into school plays. By today's standards, that's borderline child abuse. But it created something dangerous. See, childhood trauma does two things. It breaks you, or it forges you into steel. For Jack, every stammered word became fuel. Every embarrassing moment became ammunition for future revenge. Fast forward to 1960. 25-year-old Jack joins GE as a junior chemical engineer. Starting salary, $10,500 a year. His first assignment? Making plastic. Boring, right? Wrong. This is where the monster was born. Within months, Jack was clashing with bureaucracy. He called meetings wastes of time. He bypassed his boss. He broke every corporate rule in the book. His manager nearly fired him. Instead, they gave him a tiny raise and a warning. That $10,000 raise, it kept Jack at GE. And that decision, that one decision, would reshape American capitalism forever. Now, here's where Jack's story gets interesting. Most people think his rise was slow and steady. Wrong. It was volcanic. Jack didn't just work in plastics, he revolutionized plastics. In the early 60s, plastic was cheap junk. Jack saw it differently. He saw the future. While his colleagues were following procedures, Jack was rewriting them. He'd show up to customer meetings uninvited, he'd make promises his department couldn't keep, then work 20-hour days to deliver them anyway. By 1968, Jack's plastics division was making serious money. But more importantly, Jack was making serious enemies. Old-school GE executives hated his style. They called him too aggressive, unprofessional, disrespectful. Jack called them dinosaurs. But here's what nobody realized at the time. Jack wasn't just selling plastic. He was beta testing a completely new way to do business. Every rule he broke, every enemy he made, every impossible target he hit, it was all practice for what was coming next. Because in 1971, something happened that would change everything. Jack got promoted to division head, and for the first time in his career, he had real power over real people. That's when the bodies started dropping. The 1970s were Jack's finishing school, and the curriculum? How to destroy people professionally. As division head, Jack implemented his first mass layoffs. Not because the division was failing, it was actually profitable. He did it because he believed fear made people work harder. Jack divided his employees into three categories. Stars, who got everything. Solid performers, who got nothing special. And dogs, who got fired. Not laid off, not restructured, fired. But here's the sick genius of Jack's approach. He made the survivors grateful. Think about it. If your coworker gets fired and you don't hate the boss. You thank him for sparing you.
Stockholm Syndrome? Jack called it performance management. By 1979, Jack was running multiple divisions and had cut thousands of jobs. But he wasn't satisfied. He wanted the top job. He wanted to run all of GE, and he was willing to step over anyone to get there. The CEO search came down to 3 candidates: Jack Welch, the corporate killer; Bob Frederick, the company loyalist; and Ed Hood, the financial genius. The board had a choice: safe, safer, or chaos. They chose chaos. December 1980, Jack Welch becomes CEO-elect of General Electric. His first statement to the press: "We're going to be number 1 or number 2 in every market, or we're getting out." Translation: if you can't dominate, you die. April 1st, 1981, Jack Welch officially becomes CEO of General Electric. April Fool's Day. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Within 90 days, Jack announced the most radical corporate transformation in American history. His plan had 3 simple rules: fix it, sell it, or close it. No exceptions, no appeals, no mercy. But that was just the warm-up. The real horror show was something called differentiation, though everyone knew its real name: rank and yank. Picture this nightmare. Every single year, every manager had to rank their entire team. Top 20%, they got bonuses, promotions, stock options, the golden handcuffs. Bottom 10%, they got fired. Not laid off, not restructured, fired. But here's the truly diabolical part of the system. That middle 70%, they lived in constant terror because they knew that next year they could be in that bottom 10%. And it worked. Holy hell did it work. GE stock price went from $4 in 1981 to $53 in 2000. That's not growth, that's rocket fuel. The company's value increased for 4,000%. 4,000%. Wall Street analysts called it the Welch miracle. Business schools wrote case studies. Other CEOs started copying the system. Soon, major corporations across America were ranking and yanking their employees. But success has a price, and the price was human. Between 1981 and 1985, Jack eliminated 100,000 jobs, about 25% of GE's workforce. Entire factories closed. Whole towns lost their primary employer. The media started calling him Neutron Jack because, like a neutron bomb, he left the buildings but killed the people. Jack's response? "We're in business to win."
By the 1990s, Jack Welch wasn't just running a company, he was running a religion. GE became a seminary for corporate killers. Jack created Crotonville, GE's leadership center. But it wasn't about leadership, it was about indoctrination. They learned the Jack Welch way of thinking, talking, and destroying careers. Then Jack's disciples spread across America. Jeff Immelt, Jim McNerney to Boeing, Bob Nardelli to Home Depot. One man's philosophy infected hundreds of major corporations. Jack didn't just change GE, he changed the DNA of American business. But there was a problem. Jack's methods worked because Jack was there. What happens when you copy genius without understanding it? Disaster. In 1, Jack wrote his business Bible, Jack, Straight from the Gut. Instant bestseller. Business leaders quoted it like scripture. But here's what people don't know. Jack didn't write it for money. He wrote it to cement his legacy, to make his methods outlive him. It worked. 20 years later, business schools still teach the Welch way. His influence went global. The whole world was playing by Jack's rules. But empires built on fear have a funny way of collapsing. Jack retires with a $400 million package. 13 days later, 9/11 changed everything. The next decade was brutal. The 2008 crisis nearly killed GE. Stock collapsed from $60 to $6. By 2018, GE was kicked out of the Dow after 100 years. Critics asked, did Jack build a house of cards? He optimized for quarterly earnings, not long-term survival. Those mass layoffs didn't just cut costs, they cut institutional memory. Those closed factories didn't save manufacturing, they exported it to China. So what's the verdict? Jack's both hero and villain. He proved you can create massive wealth by optimizing short term. But 40 years later, we're all still paying the price. The stuttering kid from Massachusetts changed the soul of American capitalism. Whether that's good or bad depends on one question. Did you own the stock, or did you lose the job? What do you think? Visionary or destroyer? Drop your thoughts below. This debate isn't over. Hit subscribe for more stories they don't teach in business school. Remember, in Jack's world, you're either winning or you're fired.